All right, good morning, Kempsville Church. It's Pastor Chris here. Just wanted to share a brief devotion with you this week. Something that God kind of showed me last week as I was doing my daily Bible study. Lately, I've been going through the books of 1st and 2nd Samuel, and we always like to go there to talk about David, but I think there's some lessons we can learn from Saul that God kind of showed me this past week and really kind of helped turn my thought process as we deal with all the ramifications of COVID-19. Because if I'm going to be completely honest and transparent with you, I was not handling it well. I would watch the governor's press conferences and I would get mad at everything he said. I would then make the fatal mistake of reading the comments as the press conference was happening from other people online, and that was even worse. And it really put me in kind of a funk. And I didn't like how I felt. I didn't like how I was acting. I didn't like my attitude. But it took a wake-up call from God to kind of teach me something. And he used two specific events in the life of Saul that really kind of changed my outlook on this. And the first one happens in 1 Samuel 13. And the Israelites are preparing to go to battle with the Philistines, and it was customary for them to offer a sacrifice before going into battle. And they needed the priest, who at the time was Samuel, to be there to offer the sacrifice. Well, time is passing, and the army is getting more and more fearful of what's about to happen. And Saul decides that he can't wait any longer for Samuel, so he offers the sacrifice himself. And about the time he finishes offering the sacrifice up, Samuel shows up and asks Saul, "Hey, what are you doing? You're not supposed to do this." And Saul was like, "Well, the men were getting afraid, so I felt I needed to do this." And Samuel's like, "Look, dude, you just disobeyed God, and because of your disobedience, your dynasty's over. Your children will not be the next kings of Israel." And this is only about a year into Saul's kingship. This happens during the second year at some point. So it only took a year for Saul to make a really big mistake, and it happened because of impatience. Well, then you would think that would kind of wake Saul up, but 2 chapters later, in chapter 15, Saul makes another really bad mistake. He's getting ready to go to battle with the Amalekites, and the instructions that he's given are to completely destroy them. Men, women, children, animals, don't leave anything alive. And so he goes into battle, and he keeps the king alive, and he keeps the best of the livestock. And his reasoning for the livestock is, well, we're going to offer these livestock as sacrifices to thank God for the victory. But let's be real, the reason for keeping the king alive is he wanted a trophy. It was not uncommon for kings, when they would win a battle, if they could capture the enemy king, that was a trophy for them. And they liked having that trophy. And this is what Saul did. Well, Samuel comes along to the celebration, and he's like, "Saul, why'd you disobey?" And Saul's like, "What do you mean? I did everything the Lord told us to do." And I'm paraphrasing here, but Samuel's like, "Then why do I hear sheep bleating? Why do I hear cattle's mooing or whatever?" And Saul's like, "Well, we're going to sacrifice those." And then he goes, "Well, what about the king?" And Saul really doesn't have much of an answer for that. And Samuel says, "Bring the king here." And Samuel takes care of business himself, and he kills the king. But it goes further, and he's like, "Look, Saul, God wants your obedience more than your sacrifice." And he said, "Don't you realize that rebellion is just like witchcraft?" So, Saul is just in a bad spot, and he's like, "God's rejected you from being king." And so Samuel goes to leave. Saul tries to stop him and grabs his robe, and the robe tears. And Samuel says, "Just like this robe is torn, God has torn the kingdom from you." And it was just reaffirmation of what he had already told him 2 chapters earlier, that, look, this kingdom ain't going to be yours much longer. And of course, we know from there on to the end of Saul's life, it's just a downward spiral where once David is on the scene, Saul's constantly trying to take David out because he knows that God's told him the kingdom's no longer yours and it's not going to stay in your family. So what did this say to me? Well, what it did for me was, when I look at the first story, it's really about Saul's impatience. And I'm an impatient person. And when things get shut down for an extended period of time, and when we found out that the stay-at-home order for Virginia was in place till June 10th, I about lost my mind. I didn't understand it. I didn't like it. And I griped to anyone that would listen about it. And it put me, I was in a bad mood all the time. And God's like, well, look, you've got to be patient if you want to see me work. Wow. Okay. Well, then this next story comes along and, God's like, look, I told you got to be patient, but you're still fussing and ranting and pitching a fit. And I'm like, I got to straighten my act up. I got to look at this thing better. No, I still don't like what's happening, but I also believe that maybe God is putting us in a position where he wants us to truly wait on him to act. And I mean, just yesterday, I'm recording this on Tuesday. I'm not sure when it's going to post, but just yesterday, the projected peak for Virginia moved up almost an entire month from May 20th to April 20th. Well, having the peak right around the corner, it's still not good news, but at the same time, it could mean that we get through this a little bit quicker. We're still seeing the cases rise. We're still seeing hospitalizations rise, and that's unfortunately probably going to continue to happen. But maybe God wants us to get on our knees and pray and seek his face and ask him to work a miracle. God still heals. And I firmly believe that if God chooses to, he can wipe this virus out in the blink of an eye. He may not, and that's cool. He's God. I'm not. But if anything comes out of this, maybe it's that God teaches us sometimes we've got to be still and we've got to wait on him. And so that's my encouragement to you guys today. I don't want to make this too long, but those are just a couple things that God really showed me last week, and I wanted to share that with you. So check out those two stories in 1 Samuel 13 and 1 Samuel 15. Spend some time with the Lord and see what he's speaking to you today. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm praying for you daily. Man, I miss seeing everybody, and I cannot wait for us to be able to come together and worship together again as a family. But hang in there. Know that your staff here is praying for you, and know that we love you. And please, if there's something going on that you need prayer for, reach out to one of us. I'll throw this reminder out to our church family. If you are in need of toilet paper, we have toilet paper here at the church. Reach out and we will find a way to get it in your hands, because that's something we feel that we can do, and we've got the ability to do that right now. So take advantage of that if you need it. Check on your neighbors. Check on your friends. Give them a phone call. Use FaceTime, Zoom, any kind of video chatting, because man, even video chatting is so cool right now because you at least get to see people. It's not the same as face-to-face, but it certainly helps. But I'm going to wrap up with that. I love you guys, praying for you, and I hope to see you all really soon.